I often get asked what is the best position to do your pelvic floor exercises in, and the answer is that it really depends on your individualized assessment. But just to talk you through a couple of different positions and why we might choose them, laying onto your back is one of the easiest and best places to start. There's less pressure going through your body, so you can really sort of feel into and connect with your pelvic floor muscles. So this is a really beautiful place to start. If you're laying onto your back, you're actually going to be attuned and feel more towards the back part of your pelvic floor, so more towards your tailbone and towards your back passage. Laying onto your tummy, this is a really beautiful position for you to, again, start. Similar to laying onto your back, there's less load and pressure through your body, but it's really useful for people who have stress, urinary leakage, or want more connection with the front part of your pelvic floor, so around your urethra, around the front part of your vaginal opening to get that closure. So this can be a really effective place to train in this position. Sitting is brilliant as well, more just for practicality and for life. Just creating the habit of doing your pelvic floor exercises and getting them in your day is one of the biggest barriers to actually doing the exercises and getting the outcomes. So previously, before, we sort of said, oh, don't do pelvic floor exercises in the car for safety and, you know, making sure that we're getting the correct activation of the muscles. But if you're actually going to do your exercises and that's the time of the day where you're actually going to do it, then yeah, that can be really great for you. In sitting into the car, you can actually play with how you're tilting with your pelvis, so you can rock forward or rock backwards with your pelvis, and this can sort of bias different parts of your pelvic floor. You create awareness, and you might just want to be mindful of like your posture and how you're sitting, because if you're sort of slumping back, that's going to bias different parts of your pelvic floor towards, like if you're leaning forward onto the steering wheel. But you know, thinking about safety and thinking about traffic lights, but otherwise sitting can be a really good position to build up from the lying down, to add a little bit more load through the body, but not as much as standing. And then standing is really great. So if we come up here into standing, this is the most load through your body, and this is a really practical position for you to think about how you actually want your pelvic floor to be strong for when you're walking around and doing exercises and like literally walking through life and loading through your body. So it's great to start in those lower levels, but then progressively building up and then becoming more confident with your pelvic floor activation and standing is really important, because this is often when we need the most support. It might be that we can control our bladder leakage when we're sitting, so we can get that tighten and squeeze and holding and supporting that bladder neck. But as soon as we go into standing, we've got that positional change and load, and our pelvic floor needs to understand and load through that part of the body. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of an idea how you can bias your pelvic floor in other ways. There's so much more to it than just this, and it's really important that you go through a really highly qualified and highly trained pelvic floor physiotherapist for your assessment and setting you up with the best program for your unique pelvic floor needs.